Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to this very special series on RBI Grade B PYQ previous year questions. So today we will be discussing about the questions that came in your 2024 examination. A very good evening to all of you. Okay, so we have already practiced the descriptive part of 2024. Here I'll be taking the objective questions of your finance part. Okay, so we'll be discussing some finance MCQs in this session that came in your 2024 examination. Before starting the discussion, if you are preparing for RBI Grade B examination, you can check out our course and you can start your journey with our team. You can also download the application if you want to download the PDF file of this particular session or any other session that is taking place on YouTube, and you can download the previous year question as well from the application. Okay, so before starting, I would like to just tell you that you can how you can attempt the test. So on the regulatory, on the dashboard you can see regulatory courses, right? And here on the left hand side you can see test. So in the test, if you click the RBI Grade B phase 2 PYP, there is phase 1 PYP as well uploaded, and you can attempt that in the exam oriented environment as well, right? So the first question is, what is the regulatory limit for investment in small and medium real estate investment trust, SMREIT? In the short form we call it SMREIT, real estate investment trust, that too small and medium real estate. So what do you think, guys, should be the correct choice here? What is REIT? Basically it's a real estate investment trust. Just like a mutual fund company pools a lot of investment on behalf of investors and invest in bonds and stock, in the same manner a special purpose vehicle is pooling the funds and buying real estate projects which will definitely generate some rental income, and eventually the investors will get income out of it, right? So what is the regulatory limit for investment in small and medium real estate investment trust here? Hello everyone, hi Srishti, very good evening. The correct answer here is 50 crore. Okay, 50 crore is the limit. So the limit of REIT is basically 50 crore and 500 crore. 500 crore is of a normal REIT. However, in case of a small and medium REIT, the limit is 50 crore. Okay, the limit is 50 crore. So that much value of asset, the REIT needs to have 500 crore. However, if it is a case of small and medium REIT, then the limit is 50 crore. Okay, फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स कहाँ से करें? तो यार फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स तो मैं करवा रहा हूँ थर्सडे को, राइट? यू कैन कवर ऑल द फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स फ्रॉम माय वीडियो जो थर्सडे को रिलीज होता है 8 PM लाइव, एंड उसके ऊपर MCQs होते हैं फ्राइडे को, राइट? सो ऑल द फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स आर कवर्ड देयर. RBI सर्कुलर्स आई कवर इन अ सेपरेट सीरीज, राइट? तो आप वहां से कवर कर सकते हो इजीली. और इसके अलावा आपको क्या करना है, एक फाइनेंस न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है, एक बिजनेस न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है. इट कैन बी मिंट, इट कैन बी इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स, इट कैन बी बिजनेस स्टैंडर्ड एज वेल. कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड के नहीं हो तो देखो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा ना ऐसे केस के अंदर, दोस टर्मिनोलॉजीज दैट यू फाइंड कॉम्प्लेक्स, राइट? ईदर यू कैन आस्क मी in the live session itself, or what you can do here is, it takes time. Look, if you are reading a newspaper, आपको कोई terminology मिली, मान लो debtor मिल गया, creditor मिल गया, now that's a commerce terminology, right? Accounting terminology. In that case you need to do the research, right? So after a few days, let's suppose 10 to 20 days, you will be in a position that you are able to understand the basic things, right? So it takes time, and my advice to you is build that basics of finance as soon as possible, right? Build that terminology wala knowledge as soon as possible. लिंक कल तक आ जाएगी आई थिंक, राइट? कल तक आपको मिल जाएगा लिंक, है ना, थर्सडे वाली क्लास का वीडियो का जो कल होने वाली है, राइट? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, what are the ways and means advances limit for the second half of the financial year 2024-2025, right? 24-25 का आपको यहाँ पे WMA पूछ लिया है, ways and means advances. So ways and means advances is nothing but it's like a short term loan that is given by the RBI to the central government or state government to manage the temporary cash flow mismatches, right? So what was the correct limit? What was the correct limit, guys, here? Any idea? So guys, previous year questions are very very important, right? इससे हमको पता चलता है what kind of questions might come in the examination, upcoming examination. So we need to do these previous year questions very very seriously. It gives us a base like what can come up in the examination. It gives us an idea like what finance current affairs are relevant for the examination, right? The correct answer here is 50,000 crore. Okay, 50,000 crore is the correct choice here. Next is, how many secondary users can be delegated access in a UPI circle? So UPI circle is a feature introduced by the NPCI. Now a primary user can delegate the UPI access to 5 secondary users, okay, to 5 secondary users. Let's suppose I'm having an account in UPI. I can delegate it to 5 secondary users. So what I can do here is, मैं 5 लोगों को add कर सकता हूँ. So let's suppose I have added 5 of my family members. They can also transact via my UPI ID. So they become a secondary account. Right? They can become a secondary account here. So the correct answer here is 5. Acha, next is for non-banking financial companies. Which risk are considered in the capital to risk asset ratio CRAR calculation? सृष्टि, आप वीडियो की लिंक की बात कर रहे हो? Are you talking about the video link थर्सडे का, जो कल होने वाला है? ओके, तो जो सेशन कल होने वाला है ना, उसका लिंक आपको कल मॉर्निंग तक आ जाएगा, राइट? कल मॉर्निंग या आपको आफ्टरनून तक अपडेट हो जाएगा. डेफिनेटली इट विल टेक प्लेस एट 10 PM एवरी थर्सडे एंड एवरी फ्राइडे. उसके ऊपर हम MCQs करने वाले, राइट? तो लिंक आपको कल तक मिलेगा, ओके? आपको विजिबल हो जाएगा प्लेटफॉर्म तक. अभी तक एडवांस में शेड्यूल नहीं हुआ होगा, राइट? So that's why you are not able to see it. You will definitely get it by tomorrow, right, on the channel. Here the correct answer will be, guys, look, what are the options? Credit risk only. What is credit risk? Let's suppose I have given a loan. Now what if I don't get my money back? That's a kind of credit risk which I am facing, right? There is a credit and market risk. What do you mean by market risk? Let's suppose I have given a loan. Let's suppose I have taken a loan at 10% per annum interest rate. So I need to pay 10% interest, right? I need to pay 10% interest here. However, this is a fixed loan, right? This is a fixed rate loan. However, the interest rate in the market falls to 6%. Now, even if the interest rate is 6%, I need to pay 10%. That's a kind of market risk. Because of changes in the market scenarios, it can be interest rate, it can be anything else as well. Operational risk. My business is not doing well. That's an operational risk due to any kind of internal control issues, right? Now, CRAR is considering all the 3 risks, right? So option E here is the correct choice here. Option E is the correct choice here, right? All the risks are being considered by the CRAR. Next, to which of the following was the settlement timeline for listed debt securities and non-convertible bonds reduced from T+6? So earlier the limit used to be T+6. Can you guys tell me what is the current limit? Can you guys tell me what is the current limit? Everyone in the comment section, what do you think? What is the current limit? ये तो एग्जाम का क्वेश्चन है. I believe previous year questions तो सबने practice किए होंगे. You all have practiced the previous year questions. The correct answer here is, guys, option C, T plus 3, right? Transaction plus 3. So earlier it used to be T plus 6. They reduced it to T plus 3. Okay. We are talking about the listed debt security and non-convertible bonds. And currently, if I talk about the IPO listing process of equity shares also, it is T plus 3. Okay. So that's why finance current affairs are very, very important. Most of the questions in your examination come from the finance current affairs related to RBI, related to SEBI, right? In 2024, we can see so many things coming from SEBI related news. Now, next is a para-based question. Now, right, next is a para-based question here. Let me just quickly read the para for you guys. To enhance the transparency and investor convenience in debt securities. Okay, so it is related to debt securities here. Recent reforms have been introduced targeting the retail investment processes. These measures emphasizes digitalization and the use of streamlined tools to make transactions more efficient. Under the new system, applicant will be required to provide linked payment credentials during the subscription phase, right? The reforms will apply across a variety of debt instruments and are expected to be rolled out in phased manner beginning in late 2024. The intention is to reduce the reliance on the manual processes and traditional banking routes, promoting the use of faster and safer alternatives. One particular approach encourages the use of payment authorization system that temporarily blocks funds until the allotment is completed. So here it is stated, they have stated that there will be temporary blocking of funds until the allotment is completed, and that's what happens in the process, right? Whenever you apply for a new security. So this framework, the regulators aim to safeguard the retail investors while bringing the domestic system in line with the international benchmark. These changes are part of broader modernization strategy in financial markets, with regulatory bodies leading the efforts to improve investors' experience and mitigate the transaction risk. So this is also from the finance current affairs only, right? The question here is, according to the revised protocol for subscribing to debt securities, let's suppose you want to subscribe to a new debt security, which of the following is a specified method for blocking the investor's fund? What do you think, guys, is a method for blocking the investor funds? Now in the question, a hint is there. The intention is to reduce the reliance on the manual processes and traditional banking routes. This line is very, very important. This line is very, very important. The intention is to reduce the reliance on manual processes and traditional banking routes. That means all the traditional banking routes stated in the options won't be the correct choice, right? That's a big hint. That's a big hint. So what do you think, guys, should be the correct choice here? What's your opinion on this? The correct choice here is UPI. Okay, so most of the students think that this is option D, ASBA. What do you mean by ASBA? Application supported by blocking amount. So that's how it takes place when you apply for an IPO. The funds are freezed in your bank account itself, right? If there is an allotment, then you will get the funds, then you will get the shares, then the amount will be deducted. However, if there is no allotment at all, then money will be unfreezed in your account itself, right? And you can do it via UPI as well. UPI is the correct choice here. Next is, who has issued the latest procedure reforms for debt security subscription as discussed in this passage? So which regulator here has issued the procedure reform related to debt security subscription as we have discussed in the passage? That's a very straight question, a very simple question. So ये listing related चीजें कौन करता है? Who is the regulator who deals with the listing of debt securities, listing of equity securities? What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comment section quickly. The correct answer here is Securities and Exchange Board of India, right? SEBI, option C. Next is, under the updated framework, what is the maximum amount for which the retail investors must use the designated fund blocking method while applying for debt security? Maximum amount क्या? तो देखो आपके एग्जामिनेशन में क्वेश्चंस कैसे पूछ रहे हैं, मोस्टली दे आर रिलेटेड टू कॉन्सेप्ट बेस्ड एंड दे आर रिलेटेड टू लिमिट बेस्ड. सो जहां पे भी लिमिट आ जाए, जिस फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर सर्कुलर के अंदर भी लिमिट आ जाए, एंड द मोमेंट द लिमिट इज रिलेटेड टू सेबी और आरबीआई regulations, then it becomes important, right? So my advice is make a chart. Always make a chart whenever you are watching any kind of lecture. Let's suppose you are watching finance current affairs series, right? The limits are coming in between and you feel that the news is somewhere related to any regulatory body or the news in itself is important. What you need to do is note it down in your register. उस टाइम पे थोड़ा सा बर्डन लगेगा, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जब आपका एग्जाम आने वाला होगा, राइट, दिस रजिस्टर, दिस कॉपी विल बी वेरी वेरी यूजफुल टू यू गाइस. ये शॉर्ट नोट्स बड़े काम आएंगे तब आपको. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक गाइस शुड बी द करेक्ट चॉइस हियर? व्हाट इज द लिमिट? एनी ओपिनियन? What should be the correct choice here? 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 1 lakh, 11 lakh or 5 lakh? The correct choice here is option E, 5 lakh. Okay, option E, 5 lakh rupees. That's the correct choice. Next is, the implementation of new subscription guidelines for debt securities is scheduled to begin from which month? Now this is a date specific question, right? And that's a pain because there are so many regulations, there are so many dates here, right? Sometimes it becomes difficult to remember each and every date. However, for every important circular or news, we must remember the date as well as limits, right? Limit is more important. However, we have seen in the previous year questions that they are asking dates as well, right? What is the correct choice here? November. So from 1st November 2024 they have implemented this guideline. So here is a new passage. Let's discuss this one. In recent years, India has witnessed emergence of a special type of banking institution aimed at providing access to financial services in areas with limited formal banking presence. So I can get keywords here: limited formal banking presence. These institutions, though smaller in size, so they are smaller in size, again another int, serve a strategic function by offering tailored credit and saving solution, a big int, tailored credit and saving solution. So they are doing customization as well, right here, for individuals and for small businesses in economically weaker regions. Their operations focus on reaching out to segments often overlooked by mainstream financial system, including informal workers, small-scale entrepreneurs, and people in remote and underserved areas. Unlike conventional commercial banks, these entities emphasizes community engagement and provide basic yet crucial financial services. Beyond financial transactions, these banks contribute to broader developmental goals by promoting the awareness about savings, budgeting, and responsible borrowing. Their presence has been linked to reducing the income gaps, strengthening the local economies, particularly in the areas where financial inclusion remains a challenge. What do you think, guys, should be the correct choice here? Cooperative bank, small finance bank, microfinance bank, payments bank, or regional rural bank? What should be the correct choice here? The correct choice here is small finance bank. Okay, small finance bank is the correct choice here. Cooperative bank हो ही नहीं सकता, पेमेंट बैंक नहीं हो सकता. Why? क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्रेडिट की बात करी है. They have talked about credit and saving. So payment bank cannot lend money. RRB is not possible. So the confusion can be in small finance bank and microfinance banks. Now microfinance institutions are generally NBFCs, right? Here all the features that we can see in this particular para relate to small finance bank. So option B is the correct choice here. Option B, small finance bank. Next, what is the main goal of the banks mentioned in the passage? Once you are able to figure out that this is related to small finance bank, then you need to just state that what is the main goal of the bank mentioned. Is it corporate financing? Is it investment banking service? Or serving the financial needs of underserved population, expanding the international operation, or maximizing the profit? One of the easiest question. If you are able to figure out, or even if you are not able to figure out, still you can do this particular question easily. What should be the correct choice here, guys? Here the correct choice here is option C, serving the financial needs of the underserved population. And I think they have clearly mentioned that people in remote or underserved areas. That's a big hint, right? So usually in the para based questions they don't give you hints. However, sometimes they do give. So it's important to read the para. However, the perfect approach will be directly to read the question first. If it is stating or giving a reference that is there in the para, then there is no option, you need to read the para. However, sometimes the questions can be answered directly as well without reading the para. Okay, so those questions, if you are clear with the concepts, if you know the limits, then that will be a cakewalk for you. However, if they have given reference related to the para, then there is no option, but you need to read the entire para, and definitely it will consume some time. So the correct answer here is serving the financial needs of the underserved population. Option C. Next is, which of the following groups is the primary target of the banks discussed in the passage? So what is the primary target here? High net worth individuals, government agencies, foreign investors, large corporations, or small enterprises and lower income household? I think they have clearly stated that again in the para. Individuals and small businesses in economically weaker region, right? So again they have given us a clear hint. The correct option will be option E, small enterprises and low income household. Next is, apart from offering the financial services, what other roles do these banks play according to the passage? So apart from the basic banking services, financial services, what else these banks are playing a role in the economy? Is it for the reducing reliance on foreign investments, increasing automation in the urban area, offering competitive interest rates to large corporations, supporting high yield investments, promoting financial literacy among the underserved communities? I think that we are doing the questions related to circulars and finance current affairs every Friday. They are much of a higher level as compared to this question, right? Because I can clearly judge the answer even if let's suppose if a student hasn't studied well for the examination, still he can figure out the correct choice here, right? By having a look at the options. So if your preparation is well, if you are sound in concepts, if you know the limits, you have revised everything well, then definitely it will click in the examination. The correct answer will click in the examination. So in the last para, I can see that beyond financial transactions, they have clearly stated it. These banks contribute to broader development goals by promoting awareness about saving, budgeting, responsible borrowings, right? So promoting financial literacy among the underserved communities is the correct choice here, option E, right? Now next question is a googly question, I can say, right? The concept that are covered in this question are related to ESI. However, they have asked you this question in finance. Let's read the paragraph first. Okay, let's read the paragraph first. In the recent decades, Earth's natural system have shown signs of distress, with studies on planetary boundaries underscoring how the human activities impact ecological limits. Several boundaries, such as those related to water, land and pollution. So they have clearly mentioned that several boundaries that are related to water, land and pollution have been stretched, indicating risk to the stability of ecosystems essential for life. Now these boundaries aim to set safe thresholds, allowing the humanity to thrive without overwhelming the Earth's capacity to regenerate. However, the industrial expansion, resource extraction and land use changes have accelerated, placing various ecosystems under the significant strain. So one thing I can understand is they are consuming your time. The paragraph is a bit lengthy. Definitely the aim is to consume your time, right? So these kind of questions I will advise you to please attempt at the last, right? If you have time. There can be chances that you will be reading entire paragraph and you are not getting any kind of hint. So the aim was to eliminate you by time, right? To manage these pressures, the global framework have been introduced over time, starting with development focused goals that emphasize poverty and health. The evolution of these frameworks has led to comprehensive strategies addressing ecological issues alongside social and economic concerns. Efforts like these have also influenced environmental initiatives worldwide, encouraging models that prioritize resource sustainability and water reduction. These models include rethinking production and consumption cycles to promote the long-term resilience and ecological health. Now, the student who is reading it for the first time, who is not aware about the planetary boundary report, will get confused, right? So this is a high level question, I can say. Efforts to maintain ecological balance must balance immediate needs with the planet regenerative capability in response to certain sector on building more resilient urban infrastructure and improving water resource management to curb the pollution impact. So broadly I can see that they have talked about water, land and pollution, right? Some boundaries are also breached here. Yet while government and organization promote sustainability, individuals' actions also play a role in supporting ecological goal and reducing the ecological footprints. Cooperative global actions and technological advancements are pivotal, with framework and sustainable models aiming to meet both the current and future needs, right? So this is the para, काफी lengthy था. As per the cited report on planetary boundaries, so this is a report on planetary boundaries, humans have crossed the boundaries in which sector? So what do you think, guys? What should be the correct choice here? Humans have crossed the boundaries in which sector? Is it related to freshwater environmental pollutants, or related to ocean or land or biomass degradation, atmosphere or stratospheric? Yes. The correct answer is fresh water and environmental pollutants. I can see three things here. Look, how to make a calculated guess. Let's suppose I haven't studied the report on planetary boundaries, right? And that's true for most of the students in the examination as well. I can see water, land and pollution, three terms. These boundaries have been breached. They have clearly mentioned it. I can easily answer option A. Why? Because the combination of three I can see in option A. Fresh water and environmental pollutants. Right? So that's a calculated guess. And sometimes we need to take that call of calculated guess. However, only do that when you can clearly see the options. You can eliminate the majority of the options, right? Perfect, guys. A is the correct choice here, right? Next is, consequently, to tackle the environmental boundary breaches, what initiatives was adopted? Now this is complex. This is complex. I think only those students will be able to answer this question who have either read this ESI related report or those who have already attempted the previous year questions. The correct answer here is circular economy. So circular economy approach was adopted to address the environmental boundary breaches. So this was an approach to address the environmental boundary breaches by focusing on reducing waste, reusing the resources. So this is a high level question, I can say, if you guys haven't read this report, which was true for the majority of the students in the examination. What preceded the Sustainable Development Goals? SDGs. SDGs से पहले क्या हुआ करता था? So what should be the correct choice here? As of now, we are having Sustainable Developmental Goals. However, before SDGs, yes, MDGs were used to be there, right? Perfect. Chetan and Gaurang. Next is the goal of MDGs ranged from what? What was the goal basically of MDGs? They're asking what was the basic goal of MDGs. Now this again is a complex question. Why? Because we are already studying SDGs, right? Very good evening, Chetan. Very good evening, everyone. I think you guys have joined late in the session. No problem at all. Do watch the recording and clear all the previous year questions. Here the correct answer is option A. Okay, option A is the correct choice here. And for majority of the students, either they have either they didn't attempt this question या फिर उनसे गलत हो गया था, right? Because this was a foreign element. This was a foreign element, okay? So sometimes we get questions like these. Still, we can try to make calculated guess even in questions like at least this one. Fresh water and environmental pollutants, right? By referring to the para. However, I will advise you guys, if the para is too long, उसको आप थोड़ा लेट कर सकते हो. First, try to attempt as many other questions that are in your strong zone as possible, because the aim is not to attempt all the questions. The aim is to attempt those questions of which you are very sure about, right? जो भी कर रहे हो बहुत अच्छे से attempt करो. And sometimes you need to make calculated guess as well. Likewise, we have seen in this particular question, right? So thank you so much, guys. That's all from my end for today. See you soon in the upcoming session of Thursday, Friday, and in the next week I'll again bring this previous year question lecture. Okay? So हम अगले week भी practice करने वाले previous year question से related. I will take 2023 previous year question in the coming session. Okay, guys? So thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye. Take care. Sure, Gaurang. Definitely we'll be discussing that as well. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye. Take care.